Its dark color makes it difficult to identify, almost as if it was meant to be camouflaged.
UFOs, or UAP, are kind of a big deal right now, but in amongst all the attention-grabbing headlines and possibly questionable stories, every so often, even the big guns capture something really strange. And it doesn't get much bigger than NASA. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for 5 times that NASA caught UFOs on camera. In some cases, these visuals have since been explained. In other cases, the mystery remains. But with every example, we want to know what you think. What's really happening with NASA's UFOs?
Neil switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying, they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching us.
Number 5. The Lost Shield. One of the great things about NASA is that every so often it releases some footage that really makes you feel like you're up there yourself, in space, doing a spacewalk, being an astronaut. That was certainly the case in 2017 when a clip emerged of 2 astronauts from the International Space Station carrying out some routine maintenance. But wait, what's that in the background?
A strange object seems to be following. Look closer. It appears to be spinning slowly as if to get a better view.
The film is shot by NASA's Peggy Whitson, and partway through, we suddenly see a long, thin, rotating object situated between the camera and the Earth below.
It's visible in the background for almost the entire 7-hour spacewalk.
As always, perspective is difficult in the NASA feeds, but it appears to be very close by.
Social media blows up. Many speculate that this is proof of a UFO monitoring the ISS.
In this case, however, NASA quickly gave an answer to the mystery, explaining that what we're actually seeing is a shield that had accidentally been lost during the same spacewalk. Unlike some other cases, the feed wasn't cut, and the claims of a cover-up were short-lived. But that's not always how it happens. Number 4. Apollo 16's Flying Saucer. With Apollo 16 in 1972, NASA was embarking on what would become its 5th successful manned lunar landing. It saw the astronauts John Young and Charles Duke walk the moon, while Ken Mattingly remained in the command module in orbit.
The missions have really shifted over to a significant scientific emphasis here. We're really operating now with the lunar rover. We're extending further out.
As 16 began the return leg of its journey, however, it captured something seemingly remarkable. The images weren't noticed until the onboard film canisters were analyzed after the mission, and one brief sequence instantly caught the eye.
The images suggest Apollo 16 may not have been alone.
Apollo 16's cameras had snapped a large, circular, glowing orb in close proximity to the surface of the moon. The astronauts on board reported having seen nothing like it with their own eyes, but there it was in black and white.
Just about as close as you can get to the kind of flying saucer that you see in a Hollywood sci-fi movie.
And in fact, its appearance was a mystery that went unanswered for more than 30 years, until in 2004, tech innovations enabled fresh analysis. It was ultimately revealed that the seeming flying saucer was actually a floodlight jutting out from the Apollo module itself.
The new techniques reveal something unseen in previous images. A strut that appears to connect the flying saucer to the command module.
For alien hunters, it was so close, but so far. Number 3. STS-48 and the Lightshow. In September 1991, NASA launched the Space Shuttle Discovery on a mission to deploy satellites high above the Earth.
And liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery and the Upper Atmosphere Research Satellite.
It all should have been fairly straightforward as far as space travel goes, but STS-48 is still remembered for the footage of apparent UFOs that was captured midway through the journey.
Just in the view to the right-hand bottom portion of the picture is Chicago.
The clip, which is a firm favorite amongst UFO hunters, is pretty grainy, but you can clearly see a series of lights seeming to blink on and off and apparently traveling across the screen. NASA has explained those lights as really being ice particles affected by engine jets and behaving as they would expect them to.
Looking southward now, the entire state of Florida becomes visible.
But not everyone's convinced. And to some degree, the film sure does look like a mini swarm of UFOs just doing their thing. What do you make of it? Number 2. Buzz Aldrin's flashing lights.
We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us.
Okay, so this one is perhaps a little contentious. But then again, aren't all UFO claims at least a bit controversial when you get down into it? When it comes to knowing about what's really happening in space, surely none are better placed than the first astronauts to ever walk on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. What's interesting then is that both have been variously linked to alleged UFO claims in the past. With Armstrong, there are unverified reports that he recalled seeing a crowd of somethings during the Apollo 11 mission, apparently watching from afar.
Neil switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying, they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching us.
With Aldrin, he's given interviews before outright discussing UFOs that he witnessed.
I saw this illumination that was moving with respect to the stars.
It's also alleged that some of them prominently feature in photos in the NASA archive. However, Aldrin has also continually rode back on any suggestion that he ever saw an actual alien ship. Instead, he has said that what he most likely noticed, apparently flashing in the distance, were discarded panels from his own rocket. And maybe it isn't that surprising that the first men on the moon would see things that they couldn't immediately identify. They were, after all, in uncharted territory.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The Black Knight Satellite.
The crew of Space Shuttle Endeavour that is unpacking new hardware when they spot an irregular shadow floating some distance away.
In December 1998, NASA carried out its first space shuttle mission to the then fledgling International Space Station. You might have thought that that in itself would be enough to enshrine this particular moment into the annals of history. But no. Instead, the mission is today most remembered as the time when NASA astronauts bore witness to the infamous, alleged Black Knight satellite.
They quickly take photographs of the oddly shaped object, but its dark color makes it difficult to identify, almost as if it was meant to be camouflaged.
While its origins are a little sketchy, the Black Knight conspiracy theory says that its detection on Earth perhaps dates back as far as Nikola Tesla, who it's claimed picked up interference created by the satellite during a radio experiment in 1899. So what is it exactly? UFO enthusiasts say the Black Knight is an alien probe that has been silently circling our planet in near-Earth orbit for about 13,000 years. For those who believe, it's a key bit of ET technology, allowing aliens to watch our every move.
When you think about satellites, normally you think maybe about something spherical or about something obviously manufactured. But this is all sorts of odd angles and curved edges.
NASA itself doesn't back that up, though. It says that the satellite is really a lost thermal blanket that had originally been on board the same space shuttle mission that discovered it. So what do you think? Debris or not debris? That is the question. Where do you stand on the UFO debate? Have you ever seen a UFO yourself? Let us know exactly what you think in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.